What is up, YouTube? Today, we're diving into the best KC17 attachments and calibrations in Delta Force. The KC17 just got released in Season 5, and now that the mid-season update is out, everyone can unlock it. I was lucky enough to grab it on Monday with the help from Jumpy during my stream, and after putting it through a lot of matches and using your recommendations, I have put together a build that brings out the best in the weapon. The KC17 is easy to control, and is one of the few rifles that benefits heavily from firing stability. It also has one of the highest ADS movement speeds I've seen on any AR so far. It fills the same role as the K437 or the M4A1, but it does that job really well under 75 meters. That makes it a solid low A tier option that's just fun to use, especially if you take advantage of the high mobility. With this setup, I've extended the range from 25 to 29 meters while keeping the same 324 millisecond time to kill. Muzzle velocity gets a small bump, and the magazine size jumps from 30 to 45 rounds. On top of that, lens shake is tightened up to help you land shots more easily, and the handling stays high for fast ADS speeds and ADS movement speed. With all of that said, let's get into the attachments. We begin with a blank KC17, of course, and let's start off with the barrel, where we put on the KC17 Longsword barrel. This will give us that increase plus 4 meters, so up to 29 meters range, while giving us a good amount of control, which we do care about because it does have a decent amount of vertical recoil, but as you can tell, it barely has any horizontal recoil, so it's really just that vertical recoil and the firing stability that you really care about. This helps both of those things, so let's put it on. Now for the muzzle, I completely forgot that the DTK muzzle brake existed until Herox showed me a build during my last stream where he was using this, and it is perfect because of the amount of current firing stability that it gives you. This weapon highly benefits from current firing stability, so this is pretty much essential on the weapon. Next up is the foregrip, where we will go for the resonant ergonomic grip because this helps out your vertical firing stability, your vertical firing camera stability, and your vertical control, while barely hurting your handling, which is going to be really useful to us. Again, this weapon has a lot of vertical recoil, and that's why we're focusing so much on just the vertical and the firing stability. Next up is the magazine, where we go for the 45 round extended mag. 30 is not enough, mainly because of the fire rate. It is 740 rounds per minute, so as you can imagine, you would run out of 30 way too quickly, so 45 seems to be the perfect number, because this 75 just hurts your handling way too much. This is negative 12 on the handling, which does mean that we get a nice 100 millisecond drop, whereas the 45 round magazine is only -5, which barely really hurts your handling. We are going to improve it later too, so don't you worry about that. Let's put on the 45, and don't forget to put on the mag assist. Now for these three patches here, so the upper rail on the left and right patch, we're going for the DD Python handguard panel to increase our handling as much as possible without hurting any other stat. We can't really put anything on the left or the right rail, any patches at least, and this weapon does benefit from a laser if you would like one. I'm not going to put one on because it does drop your ADS walking speed, and people will be able to see you a little bit better just because of the laser, but if you enjoy lasers, this is a perfect type of weapon to put it on. Next, the optic is purely preference. You could really go for anything that you possibly want here. I just prefer going for things that are naturally raised, hence I'm going for the Cobra accuracy sight. That way I don't have to put any risers, which would mess up your firing stability. So try to stay away from the risers and instead put on some kind of optic that is already raised a little bit off of the rails. On the rear grip, the AR Heavy Tower grip will allow us to put on a grip mount, which is going to let us put on the stable grip base. This is going to help out your control and your stability by a lot. This is going to give you the most amount of stability that you could get out of a rear grip, and that's the main reason why we have it on, and it also helps your control by a decent amount. So let's put it on. And last but not least, on the stock, to really cement the idea that the ADS walking speed is very important, we're going for the Shadow Buffer Tube stock. This is a huge boost in handling while giving us a little bit of extra control, but it does have this effect of extra ADS movement speed. The higher your ADS movement speed, the better you're going to strafe, and the more likely enemies are to miss you. It will hurt our handling, but it is already at a high enough number. We really just care about this ADS movement speed, so let's put it on. Now this is the finished build without any of the calibration, so let's take a look at the detailed stats so you can see what it looks like before we calibrate it. You can see that our damage fall off multiplier has changed just a little bit by those plus 4 meters. It's very nice to have. That way you're not only locked into a SMG ranges. But now let's go to the control, which will actually change due to the calibration. You can see that we have really focused on the vertical recoil, and this is going to get much better after the calibration. The firing stability is going to get a little bit worse, but it is still going to be about 0.81x more or less, which I find to be a sweet spot for the weapon, while also helping out the rest. So now let's move on to the handling. You can see that our ADS movement speed is already quite high, and we're only going to increase this by a lot during the calibration, and the ADS speed itself is going to get much better. Lastly, the stability won't really change much, but you can already see that we have some really good numbers, and most importantly, the current lens stability while firing doesn't need to be that high for this weapon. This is actually pretty good as is. Just remember to hold your breath while you're shooting at around halfway through the magazine. Now let's begin with the calibration to make the weapon even better, starting off with the barrel, where we put the weight limit all the way down to the minimum for the extra ADS movement speed. The length is also going all the way down to the minimum for the extra ADS speed, which is one of the main stats that we really need for this weapon. We're dropping muzzle velocity and firing stability, but those numbers are still already going to be high enough, so you don't really need to worry about this small amount of drop. Let's move on to the foregrip now, where we move the thickness all the way down to the minimum for the extra ADS movement speed again. You don't care really about stability when moving, that's okay to drop, and the weight limit to the maximum for the extra control. We want to control the weapon as much as possible. Although we are dropping ADS speed, you could choose, if you really want to use this as more of an SMG, this is the attachment that would let you choose if you want to go for full ADS or control. It kinda just depends on your playstyle. I will go for the extra control here. On the rear grip, we have the weight limit all the way to the maximum for the extra control, and the thickness all the way down to the minimum for the extra hipfire aim speed, which is just your ADS time. This is going to help out a lot, so make sure to put that on. Then on the stock, we have the weight limit all the way to the max once again for the extra control, and the placement all the way down to the minimum for the extra ADS speed. Again, we're dropping firing stability, but our firing stability is super high due to the muzzle already. Therefore, we're kind of hitting a nice little sweet spot in between having too little firing stability and just the right amount of ADS speed. So now for the optic, last but not least, the eye relief all the way down so that you can see as much as possible inside of your optics window. Now let's go back to see the detailed stats after the calibration, where you can see the fall off multiplier doesn't change at all. So let's move on to the control, where if you remember the previous number, this was much higher. Vertical recoil is mainly what the weapon has, and even horizontal recoil we have helped a little bit too. What a nice number that is. But most importantly, because the weapon doesn't have that much horizontal recoil, most of the deviation of your recoil is going to come from the firing stability. Therefore, that's why we have it as such a good number, 0.81x. Now let's move on to the handling, where you can see what I meant by we're going to increase the ADS movement speed by quite a bit. This is super high for an AR. This might even be the highest amount of ADS movement speed for any AR in the game right now. And the actual current ADS speed has only increased by a little bit from the default, which is pretty good. You can use this at pretty much every single range. It is a little bit slower than other ARs, but it makes up for it because of the ADS movement speed. And lastly, on the stability, as I said, it won't change that much, but just remember to hold your breath right around halfway through your magazine, because it really does help your recoil reduction while you're holding breath, because holding your breath really does help your recoil reduction. And now that you know the stats and we have dialed in our attachments and calibration, let's hop into the firing range to see how it handles. For this first magazine, I won't be controlling any of the recoil at all, so this is just the pure raw recoil of the weapon. And as you can tell, it was mainly just up a little bit, then starts going to the right, and then a nice little sharp thing to the left here. I don't even know what to call that, just a nice little cut to the left. So for the second magazine, I'm going to keep a nice consistent grouping as best I can, and you'll see that the really only difficult part is right at the end where it does that little jump. That just confirms it. But now if I hold my breath, it's going to get a lot better right at the end there. You're not going to feel it as much. You can see how easy that was to really control there. So all you really have to do is pull down and to the left just a little bit, and then hold your breath once you're, let's say, 20 rounds into your recoil pattern, so that you don't have to bother as much with that tiny little bit of a jump that it does while it's going to the left. The KC17 feels like a low A tier weapon since it does the same job as the K437 and the M4A1, but at least it does the job very well, so it's definitely fun to use. And now that we have the build locked in, let's jump into a fun game in Ascension to see the setup in action. Enjoy! I'm in Ascension today playing as Toxic with the KC17. Let's see what we can do with the... Oh, I thought that was an enemy. Oh, geez. Let's see what we can do here today. Even at these longer ranges, it's actually super easy to control. People just need to stop taking cover. Maybe I can show you how it handles. Who's shooting? Look at this. Oh, come on now. Stop taking cover. That's what I need. There we go. What is she doing up here? She just jumped down not to get killed. Let me see if she's... Ah, there she is. Yep. Oh, that's scary as hell. But still dead. I don't know if there's one... Yeah, there is. There is. There's always one more. Hold on. Let's see this. There's two more. I don't like that. Okay, got one. There's another two. Hold on, let me revive you. I need some backup. I need some backup. This is why I like her. I can create my own backup whenever I revive people. Oh, she doesn't know. If she would have killed me with that, I would have been so upset. Let's get everybody from the side. What the? Okay, I actually really thought he was gonna jump on me to kill me, but he just ignored me. Or maybe he just didn't know that I was there. This build that I'm trying here today is heavily inspired by Herox's version because he reminded me that the DTK muzzle brake exists and it's just better than the spiral flash hider. Now, surprisingly enough, this is one of the few weapons in the game that really benefits from having quite a bit of firing stability because there's only really vertical recoil on the weapon. The only other recoil that you see on the weapon is all of it is due to the firing stability. So if you have that higher, you're gonna just straight up have less recoil. Oh, I see you down there. Let me reload real quick. 45 rounds is enough, but I need to also heal, so I might as well reload at the same time. There's somebody down here, aren't you? Yeah, there you are. Oh no. There we go, still got him. Just keep spawning on the side and trying to go for them on long ranges here. Super easy to control, even at that range. You're just not going to be dealing enough damage to really get people at that range. So we really want to stick to below 75 meters if at all possible. It's a large range, 75 meters, so you really shouldn't have any issues. But just so you know, let's get this guy. Don't want to let him live. Get you on the point. There we go. Shorter ranges, the weapon does shine, but anything below 75 is good because it does have really good control. All right, 52 meters, as you saw, even although all I could see is a tiny little sliver of the head. Bam, bam, bam. Anybody down here? Oh yeah, there always is. Gotta stop him, gotta stop him. Here we go. Now, this is not just inspired by Herox either. This is a whole bunch of lessons that I learned from all the builds that you guys sent me during my last stream on Monday, and I have 0 ammo right now. Hopefully I don't die. Especially Hat Claw, Brawler, Cock Blocker, all of those were really good to kind of teach me really what you guys were enjoying out of each build, out of the weapon itself. And then Herox reminded me of that DTK muzzle brake. That thing is good. Come on, team. This is the first point. This should be the easiest one. We got this. I believe in us. Yeah, let's go. Good. Finally. Get everybody around here. Oh, I'm about to die. I'm surrounded. Somebody down here. Oh, there you are. Hello. How are you doing? Whoa, what's going on over here? Hello. That's kind of wild. Hell yeah, destroy that tank, please. Somebody get it. If an engineer gets out of this to repair, I swear to you, I will... Yeah, good job, team. Let's go. I love seeing that. Let's get him from this range. Should be all right. Shouldn't be too hard. It just takes a lot of rounds because the damage is not that high. We're only doing 24 damage. And that's why we have a 324 millisecond time to kill with a fire rate of 740 rounds per minute. Who's shooting at me from the side? I think it might be the AA gun. Maybe? I'm not sure. I'm just gonna stick around here and heal up my engineers. Muzzle velocity is a little slow, so you might want to be careful at that range. If they're just running side to side like they were right there. Bam. Let's get you up here. Oh, I think someone just destroyed her. Blew her up. Oh, hello. Yeah. Super easy to control in the case that you need to get somebody behind a head glitch. Very easy to do that. Now, am I able to... Oh, no way. I got them both. Hell yeah, I am able to. That's crazy. Situations like this and the one with the 2 people there that I killed really show you how important ADS movement speed is, because they would not have missed as much as they did if my ADS movement speed was lower than it really is right now. Hold on, I gotta get these guys first before I revive anybody. She doesn't know. She doesn't know either. Get her first. And then the one that is clueless right now, it's you. Bam. What is he diving for? I don't know. Get you. Perfect. Let me put you guys on right now. Whenever you're in this section where you're waiting here to get the next spawn on top of this platform, you want to wait. Just wait on this screen. Do not take the zipline. That way you can actually spawn right up here as quickly as possible and catch everybody off guard. The ones that just don't expect it. because they have 10 seconds to run away. So you will have a little bit of extra time. This time it didn't work out that well because there were only 2 people on the platform, but usually there's a couple of more. Just wanted to give you a little tip there. You're gonna be up here way quicker than they can leave. Hello. Everybody's down here, apparently. I know there's one. Oh, God. No, the rock. I always forget that rock. Pretty sure that I can, like, fly right now? Yeah. Perfect, perfect. It's exactly what I wanted. Don't want to leave them here. This is a really good spot for them. Just remember that this is a good spot, because they're gonna try to get there. Got them good. Gotta make sure to get everybody that seems to have a rocket launcher on them, so that way my teammates can really come in with the vehicles. Focus on the engineers right now. There's a lot of them, especially on this map. There's gonna be a lot of engineers. Nobody else back here? We're good. Engineer here. Pretty sure there's some medic nearby too. Yeah, it's this guy. Got the other engineer. Good. Sometimes you really gotta pop out the pistol. Switching to your pistol is always faster than reloading. Get him good. Oh, we're doing very well right now. There's gotta be somebody in here that I can get. Yep, look at that. Couple of them, actually. I shouldn't have reloaded. I should have just finished her off. I just didn't really pay attention to the amount of rounds that I had. Oh, I need to... Am I gonna die here? Oh my God, I lived with 1 health. What the hell? Wait, what was that for? Why'd they do that? I can't say ho in this in the game apparently. Hello? What is she doing? Hold on, I can definitely revive a couple of you guys. Good. Is that a respawn beacon? No. Good. That vehicle is gonna destroy us. That's not good at all. I'm dead here. Just gonna wait for this guy to pop up. Well, we can't win them all, but that was the KC17. That was very fun. Although we lost in 27 minutes, we had a decent amount of kills. I hope I got to show you exactly which are the best ways to use the weapon. We ended up with 76 kills, a shitload of points, and barely any deaths. That was very fun. Now in the comments down below, let me know what you thought of this KC17 build, and if you have a way to improve it even more. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you on the next one. AuxOwl out.